Okay, I'm back. Let's see if we can make it work. Hey, Gel Nation. Let's see if we can get everybody on. Happy holidays, guys. Merry Christmas. We have an incredible interview lined up tonight. And we're gonna wait for everybody to hop on, make sure everybody can hear and see. Let's see. Hey, Christine. Hey, Monica. Hi, Keith. Take two. Let's try this again. There he is. All right. So I'm going to look and see if there's an actual... Yes, I can add... Oh, Ron, I can add you. But before I add you, I see that you sent me... Yes, I see that you sent me a request. Give me 1 second. I want to do the proper introduction. So guys, tonight, as a Diamond Ambassador for this company, I could not be more excited, more honored to be able to bring on a gentleman who he's a disabled veteran. He was in the Army, fought for the U.S., fought for the United States of America. I'm very proud that he is not only in our company, but he's a fellow geller. He's someone who, like me, was skeptical at first, put the gel to the test, and has one heck of a story. Ronald Mann is currently from Maryland. He is... I think 6 or 7 weeks on the gel, but has a pretty incredible story. But I do want to talk a bit about who he is, what he's done, not just for our country, but the sacrifice he made. He is a para world athlete, means he is a below the knee amputee. So, you know, you can imagine the kind of life-changing, altering event that was for him, fighting for our country and for our freedom. I am very, very just humbled by the service he's had for us and for our country, but also that he stood on stage in Philadelphia where I first met him and shared his story. And I am super excited to bring him in. He's a 2-time Abu Dhabi champion. He's an MMA fighter. He was a cage fighter. He's jiu-jitsu, you name it. I'm going to let him give the whole huge resume that I think is super impressive. And also we're going to talk a little bit about what the gel's done for him and how big this market is, and as a pro athlete, what it's done for him. So thank you everyone for share some love for Ron and what he's done for us. And Ron, I'm gonna bring you on now. Let's see if we can get you on. All right.
There he is. Ooh. Feedback. Hold on. Are you hearing echoing? You have headphones?
Hello?
Oh yeah, much
there
better.
We go.
Ooh.
I don't know, maybe.
A lot of people have been having Facebook problems and echoing and all kinds of stuff. I have no idea, but are you hearing me?
I
at
am.
least?
Can you hear me now finally? Okay.
Yes, you sound
there we
clear.
Go.
We are good
there
to go. I am so excited to have you on tonight. Everybody's been bombing my phone asking, you know, when is this happening and what are we going to hear? And I said, wait till tonight. I want Ron, bring yourself a little closer just so we can see you.
Jesus. Okay. How is that? Are we finally settled down enough?
Technology's fun, right? You're looking good. Good. So I hope I did you justice, but why don't you give everyone who's watching, this is going to be shared hundreds of times, there'll be thousands of people who watch this. Why don't you give us the background on what you've done, you know, not only in for serving our country, but for your background with jiu-jitsu and MMA fighting and all that.
So we'll jump right into the military. Like, my entire family has served in the United States Army since the Civil War, and it's an honor for us. This is what our family does. You know, it's a blessing for me to be able to serve back to my country that's raised me and given me the opportunities I've had. So I knew going right into high school, I knew that I was going to enlist in the military, and particularly the Army. You know, that's what we do. So when I was still in high school, you know, I joined before I graduated, and as soon as I graduated, I shipped out to boot. And I always knew I wanted to be a combat medic. Like that was growing up, I knew that. So, you know, I ended up pulling 6 years. I was able to go overseas and then came back, you know, and we'll get into this a little bit with the gel, but yeah, as a, you know, soldiers have to do a lot of things. And unfortunately, sometimes those are very difficult to handle morally, you know. So as we go along with this story into the gel, I'll tell you what that's done for me and helped me there as well. After I got done with the Army, you know, I was on the Army Taekwondo team when I was stationed in Korea. And that was my first introduction to martial arts, and I just took to it. And I got out, and 92 days after I left active duty, I was in a motorcycle accident. And my best friend and I, we were stationed in Korea together. Dougie and I were stationed. We were both combat medics, and we crashed our bikes into each other. And you know, if Dougie hadn't been there, I would have died that day for sure. And he saved my life. And you know, I knew I was a combat medic. I knew at the scene what was happening, and I can remember because I flatlined twice on the chopper ride in, and I remember both times. I remember that death episode. And just as they were getting ready to put me under, they strapped me down to the table. They put you in a crucifix so they can get access to your IVs. And I called the doctor over and I told him, "Doc, if you can't save my leg, don't save me." And he told me, "We'll do the best we can." And I had told that to so many other soldiers, and I knew what was happening then. And they put me under. You know, you wake up 2 days later and your leg is gone. You're 24 years old and your whole life has changed. I mean, I was a soldier and now I'm broken. About 30 days after that, I didn't know that I could take it anymore. And I had my grandfather's service revolver to my head. And I don't know why. I don't know what stopped me, but I remember very clearly a sense of calmness came over me. And I remember being told, "You're not going to go out like this. If you're going to die, you're going to die fighting." And it was very, very vivid and clear. I remember that very distinctly. And I put the pistol down. And from then, I've never looked back. You know, I've always, you know, life throws us all kinds of curveballs. I mean, this has been 23 years ago now that I lost my leg. And there's ups and downs, but the martial arts has always been my rock. That's what I always go back to. That's always been my savior. The mats don't lie. Everything else in the world can be crazy, but when you're in there in the training, they never lie to you. They'll tell you how long you've been there, if you're coming regularly, if you're eating correctly, if you drank the night before,
Right.
they'll let you know. So, you know, but that's always been the way I come back. And, you know, fortunately I was able to, when I first started, this is 23 years ago, there were no amputees that fought. There was very few amputees that trained martial arts. And my first 3 schools, I was told I couldn't train. And I'm like, I don't understand this, but you know, it kept going on. I did find an academy that let me train. About a year after, we would drive from Michigan to Chicago because they didn't know me there yet, and we would sneak into the kickboxing tournaments. And my legs padded up to make it safe for the tournament. You know, I'm not there to hurt anybody with my leg. We went down there. I didn't tell the refs. I didn't tell my opponent. I didn't tell the coaches. I didn't tell the promoters. Nobody. And you know, I wore long pants and I snuck into the tournament. In the second round, I knocked the guy out. And I remember I was going around the ring. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I felt.
Wait a minute. So you're saying they didn't know you were an amputee?
No, they told, I was banned out of Michigan for a while. I could not fight in Michigan. And these are the battles that we've had to overcome. I mean, I'm the first amputee to fight. I was the first one to fight ISK sanctioned kickboxing. After I started developing reputation, I was the first amputee to fight mixed martial arts. I would have to drive from Michigan to Iowa just to fight. A year after I started kickboxing, we went over to mixed martial arts, and I never looked back. So it's been an amazing gift and a blessing in my life. It truly has. It's saved my life so many times, and to be able to give that gift back now. You know, I won a 170-pound title. And so we talk about para versus conventional. Conventional is able-bodied athletes. I fight conventional. I've always fought conventional, which means, you know, I'm out there banging against somebody who has both their limbs. Just recently, last year, Abu Dhabi, UAE offered world para classes in their world jiu-jitsu tournament. I was selected. I was the only American selected to fight. Out of 35 fighters around the world, I was the only American selected to fight. And that's when I knew I had to be in DC with Yamasaki Academy. Like, I've known their head coach, Sean Divney, for a long time. And so 14 days later, I sold everything I had. I moved out here. And we had a 7-week camp, just tearing it up, going crazy, prepping for Worlds. Like, this is Worlds. This is the first time it's ever happened. And you can see the video on YouTube. I go out there and I win in 23 seconds. And that makes a statement for Yamasaki Jiu-Jitsu. It makes a statement for para Jiu-Jitsu. You know, we're fighting now, and we've developed 13 categories of different ability levels. And so now we're fighting each other on different category levels. We have equality of things that we can and can't do. This last November, I went to LA and qualified for Worlds again, beating my para opponents. But then I entered the able body on world level and qualified there and I took double gold para and able. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very, very blessed and very fortunate. This is a gift.
I'm blown away. So we have a word in our house that my son uses all the time, and he's 13 going on 30. And he says, he always likes to say the word legend, or something's legendary, like the barbecue sauce he loves, right? And you really, I know you're very humble, but I could hear this word in my head that you're literally a legend in the making in this industry for what you have accomplished. I had no idea that you were the first para athlete to get into this world. I know I told you this in Philly. I'm a huge MMA fan. It's funny because I'm going away in February to Vegas for an important trip, and that's when Bellator is going to be here in Connecticut, and I'm missing the fights.
Yes, you might want to come back for a
So
night.
you and I we'll have to hook up and go see some great fights. But I can't wait for us. I want to post your fight on our team page for everyone to see. And it does really lend a lot of credibility to New You Life as we start to brand ourselves, because having someone of your caliber in the pro athlete world, and on top of that, with having that disability that you're not allowing to be your disability, it makes a huge statement for our industry as direct sellers. We're all about teaching about overcoming, right? Being overcomers. Everything is about your mindset. We're a personal, everyone knows this that's in the industry, usually they do, that we're a personal development business wrapped around, right, a network marketing business, not the other way around. So having your mindset and your ability to overcome and take the life, circumstances that you had and be such a champion, and to speak victory over your life when you could have allowed death to come in, hits me in a big way, and I know it's hitting a lot of others. And the makeup's looking good tonight, so I don't want to cry. But let's get into a little bit about, from there, how were you introduced to the gel? Let's give some honor to Vaughn, because this industry, we have to teach people how to be not scared to share the great gel, and then talk about from there, what has the gel done for you? I know your before and afters are on the men's testimonial page, but I want everyone to see the power of what they hold in their hands and why they need to share and open their mouths, because we can change so many lives with this product.
And that's, like, I've always I talk about para jiu-jitsu as a gift. Like, this is a gift for humanity. It's the fix for humanity. People think they're too broken to go on. And with jiu-jitsu, you go out and it's not just dunking a ball or scoring a goal. It's a way of life. There's a physical growth to it, but there's also spiritual and emotional growth. And for me, that's helped me become a better man. Now, it's just so random. I met a para strongman, Tommy On, and we'd been ghosting back and forth for a while, talking about, we need to meet up. And he just happened to be 1.5 miles from where I was at, and he was doing a walk, roll, run. So I went out and met him. Great guy. Well, Tommy happens to have gone to school with Vaughn. And, Vaughn invited us out for lunch, introduced me to the gel. And, at first I was like, no. I mean, I was a combat medic. I'm very familiar with what the body does and can't do. And I've trained and fought on very high level teams. I was with Fairtex, aka Chicago boxing team. You know, these are very high level teams I've been gifted for. So I didn't believe that the gel would work. I didn't, point blank. And Vaughn sat and talked to me, and we had a wonderful lunch. And you know, I said, okay. I said, well, you know, I'm not a seller. I'm an athlete. I fight. I go on the mat. I teach people how to do martial arts. I train kids, and I fight. That's what I do. But you know, she invited me into the team, and I was like, no. But you know, we'll try it for 90 days. I said, I'll try it for 90 days. If it works, then I would be happy as an athlete to promote this. Like, this is, I mean, if for me especially, you know, I'm 46 years old now. I'm out there banging against kids that are 20, 30 years old. So you've got to have every edge you can get. And so, you know, we started the program, and my last camp to Sweden, this is JJF Worlds. This is one step below the Olympics. When you qualify here, you qualify for the Olympics. Jiu-Jitsu is not in the Olympics yet, but they want to push it. They want to push it for 2024, maybe 2028. I'm hoping 24 because I'd like to fight still. But it's one of those, you have to break down these barriers. You have to show that we can do this. So I was invited to JJF Worlds this year, and it was about you're supposed to run an 8-week camp. 7 weeks out, I started my camp a little bit late. 4 weeks out, I caught a bronchitis, and it just blew me out of the water. I mean, you can't train, you can't breathe, you can't hustle, you don't want to infect your partners. And so Vaughn had gotten back a hold of me, and we started the gel. And there's a lot to this gel. There's a lot to this product. It's not just HGH. There's a lot of other support systems that are there. And that's, I think, the most important part of this is you're getting a microdose of HGH. As far as I found, all the research says it can't happen. But I will testify for the rest of my life that it does happen. In 4 weeks, I cut 10 pounds of fat. You have to understand, I'm a very high level athlete. Like, I train my body 6 days a week, and I fight I teach 7 days a week. You know, I'm already in pretty good condition for this. And, you know, the HGH doesn't really kick in, not to high peak levels, for 3, 4, 5 months. It's a slow growth here in your body. This isn't just you inject a medication and all of a sudden now you've got, you know, 10 pounds of muscle. All the other things that are involved in this product, that's what makes me a champion. You know, we talk about my PTSD. I'm a disabled veteran. I did see a lot of bad things, and we have to do some bad things. The nightmares are terrible. After that was the first thing I noticed, was that 2 weeks into it, I was starting to finally have the volume turned down on nightmares. And this is very like, if we could give this to veterans just for that reason, to turn down the nightmares, that would be worth it in the first place. That if that's all it does, that would be worth it. But it gives you so much more. Like, you know, my mood. I have not felt this emotionally strong in years. Like, I wake up, I have, instead of 4 or 5 Red Bulls a day, I have a cup of coffee now. You know, my energy's up. My sleep is better. It's not perfect sleep. That's going to take a while, but it's better. Even when I do have the nightmares, they're not as extreme as they used to be. You know, generally walking through my days, it's helped me reach peak performance. And that's what we're looking for, right? I don't want to inject medication to myself for the rest of my life. Something that I can apply transdermally 2 or 3 times a day that, as a peak athlete, helps me get a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, reduce some of those aging problems that we have, that we all have. You know, we can talk about my fingernails are harder. My beard, pretty solid. The libido,
It's pretty solid from here.
I mean, you look at all these different things that we lose as we get older. You know, the libido, the things where we're with our partners for 40 years. You know, my body is going through changes. I've only been on this gel for 11 weeks. So it's hard for me to determine what's HGH and what's the other support systems in it, but I know that it works. It is a brilliant supplement that I will use as a high-level athlete for the rest of my life. And for Vaughn to bring me in and offer me this, I didn't believe it, but she kept talking to me about it. and I tried it. And that's the thing that I have to come and say, like, if you're on the fence, give it 90 days. I I took 30 days and it showed me a revolution. Give it 90 days, give it a chance. If 90 days you don't see any benefits, not better than you, then cool, you know, good luck and enjoy it. But the the ability for this to turn back time, that's the gift. Now we combine that with martial arts, we combine the pair jiu-jitsu, people who are already struggling physically and emotionally, and we start giving
Yeah.
this gel, we give them this avenue, this to grow spiritually and physically. They're really this. It's amazing at this point in my life. I've found another thing to help give back. You know, jiu-jitsu saved my life, and these are gifts that I've been given, and it is an honor for me to continue. If I have one more fight, if I get on the mat one more time, and somebody sees that I'm strong because of what this gel does and what para jiu-jitsu does for me, and they decide to get up and chase their grandchildren, or go back to work, or go to the store, or get on the mat and do jiu-jitsu, that my life has been well lived. It's an honor for me.
Yeah, you have a major, massive purpose for your life, and sometimes it comes out of the hardest, most devastating things in our life that we become, you know, our greatness comes out, right? And you have such greatness in you. I am so honored to be working with you on the team now. Tell me a little bit before we wrap up about recovery. Talk to me about stamina. Talk to me about how you feel you're recovering after. You know, you do some pretty intense
Yes,
workouts.
yes. I mean,
Any changes there? And, you know, we haven't talked about this
right.
prior, so I just
Well,
want to just
and
hit you
that's the
with
thing.
any
That's the thing.
questions.
You wonder. Like, I noticed my recovery time is quicker. I'm not as sore. That's the one of the huge things that I've seen is like jujitsu is like involuntary yoga. Your friends are folding you in half, and so you know it is rough on the joint. I'm 46. It's rough on the joints. It's hard on the body, but
Sure.
I think part of that's a better sleep. I think part of that's a better emotional stasis. You know, the all these little things that are combined together. I'm interested in seeing the 6 months when I'm really hitting peak performance, and then for the rest of my life, you know, this is what I'm excited about. Right now, it's amazing. It's, you know, I can't talk about it enough. 6 months, it's 6 month period when I'm really up there. Yeah, that's what I'm excited about now.
Yeah.
But it,
Yeah. The 6 month mark is huge. Then the 12 month, I just hit my 12 month. This Saturday will be 12 months. And it's literally, I look back and go, I feel bad for the people that don't stay past 3 months, 4 months.
yeah,
You have got to, the body takes time to
yes,
break down. It takes time to get back to where you want it to be. It takes time to recover, rejuvenate, and do the
yes,
healing. It's not the gel doing the healing. I want to be very
right,
clear. Okay. We're not claiming it's healing. We're saying that when the hormones in the body are optimized and start coming back to healthy levels and they're restored by the gel, then the body, when it's optimized, can start doing the things it used to do, which goes in and restores and rejuvenates and rebuilds. On a cellular
yes,
level, it takes time. And people expect it to turn them into this, you know, amazing human being
yes,
overnight. And the thing is I tell everyone, have an expectation of a minimum of 90 days. And quite frankly, at the 6 month mark, I look back to where I was 3 months in and I go, thank God I kept
yes,
going. I already knew it was working, but I look back
yeah,
now a year ago and say, what a massive
yeah,
change for me and what an epic year physically, spiritually, and emotionally for what it's balanced me out as. And I can't wait for the next few
yeah.
years on the gel. So, you know, I am just everyone's just so excited to have you on
No,
the
thank you.
team. I know we will probably see you on the stage at convention. I know you're going to be a big face for our company. But I am very excited that you took some time with me tonight and very honored that you shared your story. I'm sure this is going to be shared a
Cool.
lot. We'll see you again, of course, for more interviews. But I am really excited for Alex Goldstein to watch this interview, and we're going to tag him because he knows his passion originally and why this gel was created was for the mixed martial arts
Yes,
world. And it's kind of ironic that it was created for them and it's now become this massive sensation all through the United States of America. And we're going to take this thing internationally. I have so many people beating down the
yeah.
door trying to get it in so many other countries. And guys, we are just warming up. So thank you again, Ron, for being on. I hope you have a very blessed Christmas and a happy New Year. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on stage
Danelle,
again.
thank you so much for having me tonight and
Thank
allowing me
you.
to give this gift back. It's a blessing. It's an honor. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Have a good night, guys.